Atlanta hums with late summer heat as Janelle Harper pulls into the long circular driveway of the Harper estate. The reunion banners flutter against the peach-colored sky, laughter echoing from the backyard. She sits in her car for a moment, her fingers gripping the steering wheel, steady but unsure. Years have passed since she's been invited to anything involving her father's family, and even now, the invitation felt more like an afterthought. She steps out, smoothing her simple floral dress, clutching the small envelope that holds her mother's letter, her only link to the woman whose promises still haunt her. Inside, the chatter dims as she approaches. Evelyn Harper stands near the buffet, elegant and unbothered, her eyes sharp enough to slice through silence. Marquis greets her with a polite smirk, one that hides judgment behind charm. "Well, look who showed up," someone murmurs. When Janelle extends her hand, Evelyn's response is colder than air conditioning in July. "You're just a guest here, dear. Don't make yourself too comfortable." The words sink deep, carving a quiet ache Janelle masks with a strained smile. Later that night, the reunion lights dim, leaving faint laughter echoing from the backyard. Janelle sits on the porch, swing alone, the cicadas buzzing in the humid dark. She replays the evening's humiliation in her mind, hearing Evelyn's words like a slow echo. From the shadows, Marquis appears, drink in hand. "Don't take Aunt Evelyn too personal," he says, leaning against the rail, smirking. "She just don't like surprises." Janelle meets his gaze. There's no apology in his tone, just arrogance wrapped in casual charm. She remembers how, as children, Marquis always had the privilege of being the real Harper. But tonight, something shifts inside her. She takes out the envelope, running her thumb across the faded seal. Inside it lies the truth that could upend everything they believe about her mother's place in this family. Back in her car, parked a few blocks from the mansion, Janelle finally opens the envelope. The letter, written in her mother's flowing cursive, is dated 20 years ago. It speaks of a promise made between her mother and Evelyn, a secret arrangement meant to secure Janelle's future. The paper trembles in her hands as she realizes that everything she's been denied might have been rightfully hers all along. A flash of headlights passes, catching her reflection in the windshield, half fear, half fire. The next morning, dawn breaks over Atlanta's skyline as Janelle drives through the West End, the neighborhood of her childhood. She passes the old church where her mother used to sing, now faded and boarded up. She remembers sitting in the pew as Evelyn's family walked past them years ago, proud, distant, pretending not to see her mother. She parks and steps out, holding the letter to her chest, whispering a silent vow. This time, she's not backing down. By mid-morning, Janelle stops at a small cafe downtown, where she once met her childhood friend, Caleb. The bell above the door rings, and there he is, older now, camera bag slung over his shoulder, smile warm as sunlight. They sit, and Janelle slides the letter across the table. His brow furrows as he reads, his photographer's eye catching every crease, every faded signature. "You know what this means," he says softly. Janelle nods, voice steady. "It means she lied, and now I'm done being a guest." The next day, Janelle meets Caleb at his small photography studio near Auburn Avenue. Old cameras line the shelves like ghosts of memory. Together, they spread the letter across his light table, the soft glow revealing faint impressions beneath the ink. A signature that isn't her mother's, but Evelyn Harper's. Caleb squints through a magnifier, his voice low. "This looks like a witness signature. Reverend Brooks." The name strikes something deep in Janelle's chest. Reverend Brooks had presided over her mother's funeral, and he'd vanished soon after. Janelle feels the gravity of it all settling in her bones. The reunion wasn't a coincidence. Someone wanted her there to find this. That afternoon, Janelle and Caleb visit the old church on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. The doors creak open, revealing pews layered with dust and light filtering through cracked stained glass. Janelle walks the aisle slowly, fingertips grazing the wood where she once sat beside her mother. Caleb photographs the space, each flash reflecting off the remnants of faith long forgotten. In the back office, they find a ledger dated from the year her mother died. Janelle turns the brittle pages until one entry stops her breath. Private meeting. Evelyn Harper, Pastor Brooks. Promise of trust. Her hands tremble, and Caleb places his hand gently over hers. The truth is no longer buried. It's waiting to be heard. Evelyn sits in her parlor later that evening, unaware that Janelle is coming for answers. Surrounded by portraits of Harper's past, she sips tea in silence, her reflection caught in the antique mirror across from her. For a moment her face softens, regret slipping through the cracks of pride. She looks down at a faded photograph of Janelle's mother, the woman she once called sister. Her voice is almost a whisper. We made a promise, and I broke it. Then, as footsteps echo down the hall, she straightens her posture, mask returning to place. Family pride, after all, is a shield built to last generations. Janelle and Caleb track down Reverend Lionel Brooks in a small suburban nursing home on the outskirts of Decatur. Time has shrunk him. Once booming and proud, now soft-voiced and frail. He remembers Janelle immediately. His eyes well with memory when she shows him the letter. Your mother was the kindest woman I ever met, he says, voice cracking. Evelyn made a promise to her. I witnessed it myself. She vowed to make sure you got what was yours. The weight of those words breaks something open in Janelle. She realizes this isn't just about inheritance. It's about the truth that was stolen, her mother's dignity, her own name. That night, Janelle returns to her small apartment. The city hums outside, neon lights pulsing through her blinds. She lays the letter, the church ledger photo, and a new photograph Caleb took. Evelyn's signature beside the pastor's, on her kitchen table. The evidence feels alive, breathing in the dim light. Her phone buzzes. A message from Marquis. You shouldn't have gone digging. She stares at the screen, calm but resolute. The past can't be buried anymore. Janelle whispers to herself, I'm not done. Days pass, and the tension thickens. Janelle wakes early, the city still half asleep, as she scrolls through old Harper archives online. Every article, every headline about the family's legacy feels like a slap. They'd built an empire on honor while burying lies. Her phone buzzes again. Marquis, we need to talk. Aunt Evelyn's upset. The message feels like a warning cloaked as concern. Janelle agrees to meet him at a downtown bistro. When she arrives, Marquis is already there, suit crisp, expression unreadable. You digging through old ghosts for what, Janelle? Money, she leans forward, eyes sharp. No, for truth. Silence stretches between them, heavy and final. Marquis looks away first. At the Harper estate, Evelyn paces the length of her parlor, her heels tapping an anxious rhythm on the marble floor. She can feel the walls closing in. Secrets have weight, and hers is pressing down hard. Her assistant, a timid woman named Clarisse, brings her the morning mail. Evelyn snatches an envelope and freezes. Inside is a printed photo, her signature beside Reverend Brooks. No return address, no message, just proof. The teacup slips from her hand, shattering on the floor. For the first time in years, Evelyn's mask cracks, her breath shallow and trembling. She knows only one person could have sent it. Meanwhile, Janelle and Caleb sit in his studio surrounded by prints, searching for meaning beyond the evidence. If we confront her now, Caleb warns, she'll bury you under her reputation. Janelle shakes her head. I'm not afraid anymore. He studies her for a long moment, seeing how the pain has hardened into purpose. You sound like your mother, he says softly. The words hit her chest like warmth breaking through winter. She smiles faintly, Then I'm finally becoming who I was meant to be. Outside, thunder rumbles, the sound of reckoning approaching. That night, Marquis storms into Evelyn's study, anger boiling beneath his polished composure. "You told me she was nothing to us," he snaps. Evelyn sits rigid behind her desk, fingers trembling as she folds the photo. "I told you what was necessary." He slams his hand against the wood. "Necessary? You lied to everyone, even me." For the first time, Evelyn can't find her words. Her son's fury mirrors her own younger self, once fighting for power through silence. Marquis' voice breaks. "You turned our name into a lie." Evelyn looks up, eyes glistening. "No, Marquis. I tried to protect it, but even she no longer believes that." Rain pours over the city as Janelle stands on her apartment balcony, phone in hand, replaying Reverend Brooks' recorded confession. His voice, weak but truthful, fills the night. "Evelyn promised your mother she'd name you heir. But fear makes people do cruel things." Janelle looks out over the wet skyline, the lights shimmering like scattered tears. She sends the recording to Evelyn with a single message. "We both know it's time." The rain drums louder, washing the city clean, or trying to. Janelle closes her eyes, her mother's voice whispering from memory. "The truth, don't hide forever, baby." The following morning, Janelle and Caleb drive through steady rain to Reverend Brooks' old church, where the storage basement still holds decades of forgotten records. The smell of dust and mildew hits hard as they descend into the dim space, flashlight beams slicing through darkness. Caleb finds a locked file cabinet marked Harper Estate. After some prying, it opens with a shriek of rust. Inside, wrapped in yellowed plastic, lies a document bearing the Harper family seal and Evelyn's signature, a binding promise transferring property rights to Janelle's mother and her legal heir. The proof is undeniable. Janelle stands silent, tears mixing with rainwater dripping from the ceiling. "She knew," she whispers. Caleb places a hand on her shoulder. "Now the world will too." Later that day, Marquis sits alone in his car outside the family estate, his mind unraveling. He replays every conversation, every dismissive remark he threw at Janelle. Guilt crawls through him like static. He watches the rain streak down his windshield, the mansion looming like a ghost in the fog. He knows what Evelyn did, and he knows Janelle is coming. For the first time, he doesn't feel like the heir. He feels like the son of a lie. That evening, Janelle walks up to the Harper mansion again. This time not as a guest, but as a storm. Caleb follows a few steps behind, holding a camera like a witness to history. Evelyn opens the door herself. Regal even in distress, her eyes flickering with both fear and defiance. "You think a piece of paper changes who you are?" she says sharply. Janelle meets her gaze. "No, but it proves who you tried to erase." The words cut deeper than Evelyn expects. For a moment, silence hangs heavy between them. Evelyn's eyes soften, a tremor of guilt, but pride snaps her posture upright again. Then, "Come in," she says. "Let's finish this." Inside the grand dining room, Janelle lays the document on the same table where Evelyn once told her she was just a guest. The irony isn't lost on either of them. Caleb records as Evelyn reads the words, her own signature staring back like a ghost of her younger self. Her breath hitches, her hand trembles. "Your mother wanted me to protect you," Evelyn whispers, "but I was so afraid of losing control. I became the thing she feared." Janelle's voice is low, trembling yet sure. "You didn't protect me. You hid me." Evelyn's tears spill freely, her armor cracking. For the first time, the truth echoes louder than pride. When Janelle finally leaves, the rain has stopped. The air is clean, almost new. Caleb walks beside her in silence, the recording safely stored on his camp. Behind them, through the mansion's tall windows, Evelyn stands alone, staring out at the woman she once rejected. now walking in her own power. Janelle pauses by her car, inhaling deeply, as if reclaiming the air her mother was once denied. "She'll never say she's sorry," Caleb murmurs. Janelle shakes her head. "She doesn't have to. I know the truth now." The camera pans up toward the night sky as thunder rumbles softly in the distance. Not anger this time, but release. The next morning, the Harper family estate wakes to whispers. Marquis stands at the head of the long breakfast table, phone in hand, face pale. The video of Janelle confronting Evelyn has spread, leaked by someone anonymous, but clearly determined to expose the truth. Every word, every tear, every crack in Evelyn's composure is now public. Family members exchange stunned looks. Forks clatter against fine china. Evelyn sits in silence, her face unreadable but her eyes glistening with restrained pain. Marquis finally speaks, voice breaking. "You could have told us, Mama. We would have understood." Evelyn exhales, voice trembling. "No, you wouldn't have. You wouldn't have. You would have judged me like I judged her." Outside, reporters begin to gather by the gates. The house that once stood as a symbol of power now hums with shame light. Meanwhile, Janelle sits in Caleb's studio, the morning light filtering through half-drawn blinds. The world feels different, heavier, yet lighter all at once. She scrolls through online articles. Hidden Harper heir, family promise exposed. Caleb leans against the window frame, arms crossed, watching her in quiet pride. "You know they'll come for you now," he says. Janelle smiles faintly. "Let them. I've spent my whole life waiting to be seen. Now they finally have to look." Her phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. "Meet me. One last time." It's Evelyn. Janelle glances at Caleb. Guess the storm ain't over yet. That evening, Janelle meets Evelyn at the family mausoleum overlooking the Harper Gardens, the resting place of her mother's unacknowledged grave. The setting sun paints the marble in amber light. Evelyn stands there already, dressed in black, her usual poise replaced by quiet surrender. "Your mother deserved better," she says softly, "and so did you." Janelle's voice trembles, not from anger but release. "Then tell me why you did it." Evelyn closes her eyes. "Because I was jealous. She had the kind of love I couldn't keep. I thought control would save our name. Instead, it killed everything good in it. The silence between them becomes holy, like confession." Janelle steps forward, eyes wet. "It's not too late to make it right." Evelyn nods, whispering, "Then let me start now." The following week, a press conference unfolds on the estate lawn. Janelle stands before cameras beside Marquis and Caleb. Evelyn, frail but composed, sits in a chair nearby, hands clasped. The world listens as Janelle speaks. This isn't just about inheritance. It's about truth, and what happens when pride buries love. Reporters jot notes furiously, cameras flashing. Marquis steps up beside her, voice steady. "The Harper legacy belongs to all of us now, and we start by telling the truth." Evelyn looks on with quiet acceptance, her eyes glistening with both loss and relief. For once, the Harper family isn't hiding. They're healing in public. In public. That night, after the chaos has settled, Janelle returns alone to her mother's grave behind the church. The air is still, cicadas humming low. She kneels, placing the original letter, now sealed again, beside the headstone. "You kept your promise, Mama," she whispers. "And so did I." The wind stirs through the trees, as if answering back. She closes her eyes, a single tear tracing her cheek, before she smiles faintly. The moonlight bathes her face, calm and clear. For the first time, Janelle feels not like a guest, but like she belongs to her family, to her name, and to herself. Weeks later, Autumn drapes Atlanta in amber leaves and quiet air. Evelyn sits on her back porch wrapped in a shawl, her once commanding posture softened by illness. Time has come for her reckoning. Not public now, but personal. Janelle visits every other day, bringing tea, silence, and presence. They don't talk much at first. There's comfort in the quiet. One afternoon, Evelyn breaks it. "I spent years building walls," she murmurs. "But you learned how to climb them." Janelle smiles faintly, voice gentle. "I just wanted you to see me." Evelyn's gaze lingers, tears glistening. "I do now, baby. I see everything I tried not to." The moment feels like redemption dressed in soft sunlight. Marquis arrives one Sunday afternoon, hat in hand, humility new in his stride. Janelle answers the door with cautious warmth. "Didn't think I'd ever say this," he admits. "But you did right by all of us." His eyes drop to the porch floorboards. "I was raised to protect the Harper name. I didn't realize what that cost you." Janelle steps closer, searching his face for sincerity. "It cost both of us," she says softly. They share a fragile smile. Behind them, Evelyn watches from the porch, a quiet witness to her children finally learning what she never could, how to let love speak louder than pride. Later, that week, Caleb hosts a small photo exhibit titled Inheritance: Truth in Light. His portraits of the Harper family, Evelyn's quiet gaze, Janelle's strength, Marquis' reflection, tell a story beyond blood. The room hums with community energy. Local art lovers mingling among framed photos. Janelle stands before her own portrait, her face half lit, half shadowed, captured the night of the confrontation. She turns to Caleb, eyes soft. "You made me look stronger than I felt." Caleb smiles. "That's the thing about truth. It makes you strong whether you're ready or not." Their fingers brush, and for the first time, Janelle doesn't pull away. Evelyn's health declines quickly. One night, Janelle sits by her bedside as monitors beep softly in the quiet room. Evelyn's voice is barely a whisper now. "You remind me of her," she says, staring at the ceiling. "Your mother never gave up on me, even when she should have." Janelle takes her hand, fingers trembling. "She didn't give up. She just left the rest for me." Evelyn smiles faintly, eyes fluttering closed. "Then you did it right." The monitor hums steady. The silence after heavier than grief. It's peace. Janelle presses her forehead against Evelyn's hand. "Rest now," she whispers. "We're home." Days later, the family gathers beneath a great oak tree behind the Harper estate for Evelyn's small memorial. No reporters, no grandeur, just truth at last. Janelle reads from her mother's letter. "Legacy is not what you leave behind, but what you repair before you go." Marquis places a white rose on the ground. Caleb stands beside Janelle, camera at his side but untouched. When the wind stirs the branches, sunlight filters down like quiet blessings. Janelle tilts her head upward, eyes closed, a faint smile breaking through. The cycle has finally ended. Forgiveness has found its home. Months later, spring breathes new life into Atlanta. The Harper estate has changed, not in structure but in spirit. Janelle walks through the halls with purpose, clipboard in hand, directing contractors as repairs unfold. She's turned part of the mansion into a community foundation named after her mother. The Lena Harper Promise House. It will provide scholarships for young women of color pursuing healthcare careers, a tribute to both her mother's compassion and her own journey. As sunlight spills across the polished floors, she pauses before the family portrait that once excluded her. Now, a new photograph hangs beside it. Janelle, Evelyn, and Marquis together at last. She smiles faintly. "We're finally whole," she whispers. Later that afternoon, Janelle visits the West End neighborhood where she grew up. Children play in the street, laughter echoing between old brick homes. She stops at the corner store she used to walk to with her mother, now freshly painted and vibrant. Mr. Carter, the owner, greets her with a grin. "Look at you, Miss Janelle. Whole city talking about what you done built." She chuckles softly, embarrassed but proud. "Just keeping a promise, Mr. Carter." As she leaves, a little girl waves at her, eyes wide with admiration. Janelle waves back, realizing she's become what she always needed. Proof that broken beginnings can still bloom. That evening, a community dinner is held in the newly opened Promise House. Laughter fills the room, gospel music hums softly, and the aroma of collard greens and cornbread fills the air. Janelle stands at the podium, a microphone in hand, her voice strong and sure. "This house isn't just for the Harpers," she says. "It's for every daughter who was ever told she didn't belong." The crowd erupts in applause. From the back, Caleb records her speech, his eyes full of quiet pride. Their gazes meet across the room, and for the first time, she feels her mother's spirit, not as memory, but as presence. After the event, Janelle and Caleb step out onto the balcony overlooking downtown Atlanta. The night hums softly, city lights flickering like distant candles. Caleb places his camera down and looks at her. "You did it, Janelle." She shakes her head, smiling. "We did it." He laughs quietly, the sound gentle and real. "So, what now?" She glances toward the skyline. "Now, I live, not as a guest, not as a secret, just as me." Caleb reaches for her hand, their fingers intertwining in the glow of the city that once held her pain, now holding her peace. The next morning, Janelle visits her mother's grave one final time. The air is calm, the sun rising over dew-soaked grass. She kneels, placing a fresh magnolia bloom beside the old letter she left months before. "You kept your promise, Mama," she says softly. "And now, I'm keeping mine." She stands, brushing dirt from her knees, and looks toward the horizon, toward her future. The camera pulls back slowly, capturing the expanse of sky, the church steeple, and Janelle walking down the path in the rising light. Her mother's voice echoes faintly. "You're not just a guest, baby. You belong." Fade to white.